Chapter 15. Sandy desert gave way to cactus, brittle bushes, and spiky-needled trees, then mountains rose in the distance. The unicorns decided to run again only once provided with the whole bag of fruit. The revelation came in when Sun was hungry and finding food. Nothing he was doing prior was getting her to run faster than a horse trot. The heat from the desert was becoming unbearable. Sun's skin turned pink in the time spent figuring it out. Turns out the unicorn's ability creates a shield of sorts. Sun didn't know how to explain it any other way, but with them stopped, the shield was down. Now they slowed to a walk comfortable enough for me to open my eyes again, and we were back into a green zone field of flowers. It seems unnatural with all the desert still threatening the outskirts of what we can see to the left, but on the right, a large ocean has appeared. It's still hot, like the warmest of summer days. I imagine a desert could get hotter still, but I'm not one to go outside willingly when the temperature is over 25. I burn too easily to be out in this. It's a reminder to stay in the shade of the cart. In front of us, tall poles extend into the sky. They appear to have a roof attached between them to cast a shadow on the land below. Scattered tall buildings come into view quickly. Other shorter buildings come next, along with more poles providing more shade. We get closer. I start getting nervous about what is next. There's no guards, I comment. Going into town for the Troll Hill City meant being surrounded by guards. And not only because it was us, they had guard towers and guards along the entrance. This place doesn't look like they have anything of the such. Also, unlike the other royal city, there are people out enjoying daily life here. The streets and air are crowded with all sorts of fairies. So, do we know where we need to go? I asked, not expecting a good answer. I don't know, I just assumed there would be a palace to go to, but there's nothing here much grander than the other, Sun responds. He's right, nothing stands out like it would be a palace or a town hall. There are buildings of all sorts of sizes. I assume we would be looking at one of the bigger ones, but there are still quite a few of those. Not every kingdom has royalty who build themselves a palace that are tucked away from the common folk and 1,000 times bigger than the average home. Or we're in the wrong place and this is just a regular town. I take a bit of a jab at his home life while giving another possibility. No, I did what I was supposed to. I told the unicorn where I would like to go and made an offering. It was accepted. He tells me the steps in the process, and it doesn't offer any reassurance. So this whole time we were relying on a unicorn to know the map of the whole world and know exactly where to go, I reiterate. Yes? Okay, does this look like the Sun Kingdom Royal City? Okay, does this look like what the Sun Kingdom Royal City is supposed to look like? I ask. I don't know, he admits. Great. Do we know if they'll speak common language or another language neither of us know? I don't know. Nothing much is known about the other kingdoms. Wars have cut us off from one another. I don't know if I should believe the information I was taught growing up. It would be outdated at the least. I finish his thought in my head. Propaganda at the worst. Great. I think you'll need to find someone to ask while I stay in the cart. I state a plan. If we don't know anything, then we'll have to ask around. Why would you stay in the cart? He turns his head to look at me, but I'm not in a good spot for him to see. I don't bother moving. He needs to focus on driving. Sun quickly gives up to watch the unicorns drive ahead. Do you know how they might treat someone from the other side here? My concern is heard. I don't. I lead him to the obvious. So I should stay in the covered cart away from people until we figure things out and make sure they don't kill me on sight? Yes, he agrees. I cover my ears with my hair for a little protection. The cart finally makes it into town with a walking pace. The unicorn stops and starts as needed to wait for people to maneuver around us. We get stares, but they are focused on the unicorns more than anything else. I try to stay mostly out of sight and keep my ears covered. I hope the shimmer I reapplied hasn't caked or slid away with the sweat. There's far more diversity in numbers here than any other place I've gone to thus far. It's also far more run down than any of the other places. Their varied toned stone, cobbled-looking buildings appear to be crumbling. Everything looks like it's been a while since they've been maintained, except for the poles and cloth shades. Those look pristine in tall logs and sturdy cloth. Shade must be more important than their homes. Do you know where the royal family lives? Sun asks loudly. I catch my breath and resist scolding him. I don't think you can just ask that question as new arrivals in a royal city. To my surprise, the fairy answers cheerfully. Other side of town, largest castle. I can't distinguish the accent, but it's not but it's not a North American one. The cart moves again. Now we know language shouldn't be a total issue. I cover my ears and lean down to see if I can catch a glimpse, but I can't. Nothing I can see would look like it's the largest castle in town. I stand back up to make sure I'm not spotted easily. I ride the cart until we stop. This might be it, Sun says softly. We're still partially in town, just at the edge. It's a bit quieter overall here, but there are fairies going in and out of the larger building. Some are walking through the field while some children run around. It's a much freer vibe than Sun's home, but we still have a problem with me. Sun comes around back. So how do we want to... He suddenly stops, eyes pinned on me. What? I panic. I look down at the front for guards coming to arrest us. Then to him to see if he got hurt. He continues to stare at me. Do I have a massive sunburn? I try to stay out of the sun as much as possible. Maybe the shimmer looks weird. You look like a fairy, Sun finally says. What? I look at my arms and clothes. Nothing's changed. You look like a fairy. I don't know. You're different. Your ears are pointed and long. You glimmer gold. Your irises are bigger and gold. Why? I'm not doing anything. Not that I could. Are you? No, I don't think I am. Maybe? No? He sounds uncertain. I don't know what to do, but by the looks of him, he has no idea either. Hi, unicorn. You're so pretty. Can I pet you? A tiny voice comes from around the front of the cart. A small child is near the side of the unicorn. It feels like a potential danger to the young child. Wait! I shout a warning as I jump out the back of the cart and go around to the waist-high child with wings. Wait, sweetie, you need to go around the front so she can see you and isn't spooked, I try to explain calmly. I guide the little strawberry blonde-haired fairy to the front of the brown unicorn and follow the same directions Sun gave me earlier, showing her how to hold her hand and ask the pet... showing her how to hold her... showing her how to hold her hand and ask to pet the unicorn. Her nose comes down with the horn angled up. The little girl grabs both sides of the unicorn's face before brushing the top of her nose. She's a really nice unicorn, isn't she? I say. Sun comes closer to us while watching the unicorn. It's his unicorn. Is he nervous about letting a child pet it? He doesn't seem to have the best history with it, but that seems to be his own fault. Yes, she shrieks. Both unicorns' ears flick at the pitch. I haven't seen a unicorn in real life, only in the books that Book shows me. They're much better than on paper. Everything is much better in person. I look around now that I'm sure she'll be okay for a moment with the unicorn. Do you have a parent around, someone who was watching you? No, my mom's inside talking to people, and Dad's flying around on business. My brothers and sisters are in the yard. Her eyes go wide, and she sucks in a big breath. She starts bouncing in place. The brown unicorn returns her head to regular height. We have to show Books, or he won't believe me that I got to pet a real-life unicorn. Whose Books? I ask. Maybe that's the one who's supposed to be watching her. My brother. He's read more books than anyone in the whole kingdom. Dad calls him a book dragon because he spends so much time with his books. Promise you'll stay here while I go get him? Yes, I say. Excitedly, she runs off. Why would you do that? You just made a binding deal with a fairy. There's a tone of warning in his voice. He's trying to chastise me for it. It doesn't seem that serious. I think she was a princess, I say. What makes you think that? She doesn't look like one, he says. I'm not sure what he means by that, other than when in fancy outfits for balls, how is one supposed to look like a princess? I lay out the information we just found out. Her mom's inside talking to people, and her dad's flying around on business. She said our yard. If this is the palace and her home, it would be her yard. We should have asked her if this really is the royal palace. It has to be, Sun says. Unicorn stopped here without me doing anything. I disagree, but I don't think that's the argument to pick right now. The little girl comes back, dragging someone behind her. Chest-length black hair is the first thing I notice, with a stark contrast to the little girl's bright red blonde hair. Is that supposed to be her brother, Books? The East Asian facial features clarify next. He looks like... No. My mouth opens a little in surprise, wanting to voice my findings. I can't say it too loud. I go right up to Son's side and try to whisper at him. Baby swap. His eyes drill into mine with questions unasked. Instant confusion requires more of an explanation. I think you were baby swapped with him. He looks like you should have. He looks like the right age, a good mix between Lord and Queen's features. He has her silver eyes, I quickly whisper. I don't want Books to hear anything. I look at the approaching fairies. They're close now, too close to say anything else. No, I look at him and nod. No, he says more firmly. I told you there were unicorns, the little girl asserts. Is everything all right? The brother asks with a tone of warmth. Yes, I say quickly. She wanted to show you the unicorns. I guess she hasn't seen one before. They don't live around here naturally, he explains. Where are you from? Moon Kingdom, Sun says. A few different places, I say. With a history of war, I don't know if it's wise to say we're from there. We should have discussed this more beforehand. The cart is Sun Kingdom craftsmanship. Wood from the ancient redwood forest, yes? I guess he's right. The redwood might be a huge sign from where it's from. But why would he say that it's the Sun Kingdom craftsmanship? Yes, Sun answers. What brings you all the way here? Books asks. Sun starts. I cut him off. I don't know what he plans on saying, but I don't think it's wise to let him answer. I set the bait with a new plan in mind. Sightseeing. Do you have any good museums or archives, libraries, or landmarks around here to see? You want to see where the books are? He asks for confirmation. No, Sun looks at me, but I mostly ignore from what I'm seeing from my peripheral. I can't explain everything to him right now. I can't explain anything to him right now. Yes, I would love to see where the books are. I read frequently. I tell him. Maybe that could be a point for us in the trust department. Not many do, Books responds. I like to. I grin slightly wider for a moment. I don't. I shoot Sun a look to tell him silently that he's not helping. This changes things. We need to make a new plan without conversing. Go tell Mom I've gone to the archives. The little one runs off. Hey, Bee's in charge while I'm gone, he shouts after her. He shakes his head. Let's go. It's not far. Oh, you don't have to go with us. I'm sure you're busy, I say politely. I have the key. You won't get in without the Queen's permission otherwise, he informs us. We don't want to drag more people into this right now. The baby swap potential changes things. The baby swap potential changes things. Oh, I guess you'd have to then. That's not going to work for privacy, but I guess we can make it work. This way, Book starts to lead the way down the main road path. Is Bee another sibling? I ask to fill the space and find out some more about the family. Yes, he says succinctly. Do you have a lot of siblings, I ask? He's got at least 2. Yes, 5 with another on the way. The next oldest, Bee, is 257. Over half my age, I think. Must be interesting with so many siblings. He's only got 1 and I've got 2, sort of. How do you sort of have 2 siblings? Books asks. My family is complicated, I start explaining anyway to fill the air. Neither are related to me by blood. I didn't grow up with my sister. She's older than me. I only met her about a year ago. And my brother, he was my... I pause as I figure out how to best put it. Stepdad's with my new stepmom? After your mom passed away? Sun adds in a question. Yes, I confirm simply. I hadn't realized he heard that. We come around the building to the front door. Books unlocks the door with massive key comparative to modern keys. He allows us inside first. There isn't much to it. While still a fair amount of books, there isn't much space. One table sits in the center of the room with no chairs. Each of the 4 walls have shelves stacked full of books. The room has a faint wood smell to it. One of the books on the table might explain why. The cover is made out of carved, multicolored, stained wood. Books closes the door behind us. These are all the books we have, everything that we could save from the homeland, and a few that people have added since. He seems almost apologetic for it. What happened to the homeland, I ask. Burnt down in the war? I regret asking. I wish I could apologize, but I know I can't. One night a substance was thrown onto the town with a fire that couldn't be put out. It burned no matter what anyone did, no matter It burned no matter what anyone did, no matter how much the skies rained. The attacks continued on every settlement that was made until we had moved far enough away. That's terrible. I pour as much of an apology into the words as possible. Yes, then the Moon Kingdom betrayed us greatly, he says. Sun beats me in talking next. I can see how that might be. It's interesting to talk to both sides of it, because the Moon Kingdom people I met said that it was the Sun Kingdom who betrayed them. I glare at Sun to hopefully make him quiet. We need this guy to not hate us. Picking a fight with him is going to hurt any chances of an amicable talk with the king or queen. We didn't assassinate their queen, he says with no emotion. Maybe not, but you certainly swapped the kingdom's princes around, Sun reveals. What are you doing? I say. We can't just say it like that. You said we were baby swapped. He needs to know. I thought that's why you lured him here. Sun scrunches his face in confusion. I didn't lure him. I'm a bit offended. I was hoping he'd point us in a direction and send us on our way so we could figure out a good way to talk to him about it after. There's no good way to tell someone their parents kidnapped you, Sun counters. We don't know what happened. That's why we're here. He might not even be baby swapped. I know how confusing and ridiculous this all sounds. Since it's already started, there's no taking it back. I summarize everything pointedly for books. Sun here is the prince of the Moon Kingdom. I'm from the other side, accidentally got stuck. I'm from the other side, accidentally got stuck here. I showed up and we figured out he's definitely not the Moon Kingdom. We figured out he's definitely not who the Moon Kingdom was claiming him to be. By how I described him without his glamour, I'm illusion blind. He figured out that usually people from the Sun Kingdom look like that, and that's when and that when he was younger, tension started and tensions started and betrayals happened, and then maybe that started with the Moon Kingdom And maybe that started with the Moon Kingdom stealing the Sun Kingdom's prince as a baby. But then we get here, and you look like the queen of the Moon Kingdom, so now we're thinking maybe there was a baby swap, exchange, or mutual stealing of the princess. I don't know, so now you're caught up. I'll have to bring you for execution. It's the law, the book says with no emotion. What law? I ask. My heart pounds. He's blocking the only exit out. Treason and illusion blindness, he says. That's illegal, I quickly say. What about the treaty with the council? You're supposed to bring me back to my side immediately, unharmed. He narrows his eyes. That clearly hasn't happened, and if no one's come for you by now, no one knows you're here. Books is right. No one knows I'm here, and no one is looking for me. This would classify as some sort of treason. The treaty wouldn't protect you. Hence, we can execute you for treason and inciting war. We're not trying to create a war. We're just trying to find out if the Moon Lord kidnapped him as a baby or not. I don't know their legal system. Does intention matter? Am I going to be executed for this? He's obviously a son of the Moon Kingdom, Book says. He doesn't see it. I look to Sun in vain. He looks the same as he always does. I ask Books, do you not see him as tall, red-haired, and fairy-winged? Sun pulls his ponytail over his shoulder. He frowns at what he sees. No, Book says. My hair is black. Why is my hair black? My wings are purple and black. He twists to look. I ignore Sun. And I suppose you don't think you look Asian with black hair and no wings. Sun flutters his wings. It creates a bit of a wind. No, he's got red hair and he looks... he's got red hair. He looks like the little one. The thing that makes you look like a fairy instead of a human must be messing things up. See, this is why I kidnapped you, so you could see through the illusions. I look to Sun as he talks. He's not helping matters. From the beginning, and don't leave any details out, Books orders us. I'm surprised at the turn. I half expected guards to be called by now. He's at least entertaining us. Sun and I spend the next long while explaining everything from Sun's side of the story, and mine from the point of stumbling upon Potato. He's hard to read throughout the whole exchange, and when it ends, we stand in tense silence. Books thinks it over. It's complicated, but an argument for execution for treason to incite war with the council and the kingdoms may still apply to you. He tells Sun. He looks to me. Illusion blindness is illegal across all the kingdoms. It's not illegal in the Moon Kingdom, Sun counters. Books looks to him with a twist of his eyebrow. Great, they lie about everything here too. He's stuck on the laws aspect. I have an idea. What about the moral law that states that when a king makes a law to execute people What about the moral law that states when a king makes a law to execute people who What about the moral law that states that when a king makes a law to execute people who can expose their crimes, specifically only to serve his self-interest to the detriment of his people, that there is a moral obligation to protect the truth-tellers so that the crimes can be exposed for the good of the people? This moral law subsedes the king's law, as it is a law that is only in place due to the corruption of the king to the kingdom. At the very least, don't you want to keep us alive to find out if we're telling the truth? At the very least, don't you want to keep us alive to find out if we're telling the truth and figure out what really happened? Sun adds, at the very least, postpone execution while you can investigate the serious crimes to prove one way or the other. It's what any good king would do. We can solve this quickly. Take off any illusion crystals and find the nearest water chamber. We don't have any, Books announces. Do you have any mushrooms or herbs that allow you to see through illusion? Sun asks. Books shakes his head slightly. Those are all banned here. I didn't bring any, Sun frowns. That brings us to a forgotten point. Are you wearing your glamoring crystals? No, Sun confirms. Then why is he seeing you as your glamored version with wings? I ask. The whole kingdom has a thin illusion veil. What I see is what he's projecting that he wants me to see, Books explains. That's so sad, I accidentally voice my remark. He's projecting an image of himself as what he was told he looks. There's noises outside. Woo. He's projecting an image of himself as what he was told he was supposed to look like, dark wings and all. Sun crosses his arms and shrugs. It's not like I know what I actually look like. No mirrors in the water chamber. I just saw the hair and wing colors and knew you were telling the truth. We should find your mirror so you can look at yourself? I tell him while asking if he might want to. It wouldn't help, not unless you leave the city, Book says. Okay, so we all just leave the city so you can both see yourselves and each other, I state our new plan. And you don't normally look like a fairy, Sun reminds me. No, Books shakes his head. I'm not allowed to leave the city. Father circles the perimeter every day, multiple times a day. Others do the same, and they know what I look like. They'd report us and stop us. Your best chance at it would be going to the neighboring city and acquiring illegal seeing herbs so we can make a tea out of it. Okay, where do we need to go, I ask. You, only you, Books points to Sun. I'm keeping her as collateral exchange to make sure you come back and keep true to your mission. Where do I need to go, he asks. There's more noises outside. Cactus flower to the south. Tell your unicorn where to go. I'm certain she'll know. You'll stay with me. I'll hide you in the children's hiding room. All your basic needs will be taken care of. The room is meant to sustain multiple children for 3 or more days. It's packed with preserved other side food. I'll bring you books to read. You'll be fine. Books sets our new plan. I'm not sure I like it. It feels like I'm going from a kidnapper to a jailer. That sounds okay, but why can't you just glamour a different image of yourself so we can go outside the veil, I ask. It sounds simpler, but then I remember that some fairies don't have illusion abilities. Maybe that's it. Coming and going as while people are watched and reported. We don't get many strangers around here. I'd guarantee you at least one of my parents have heard about the new strangers in town. The border guards will be on alert. We'll be stopped or watched. If it's true, we can't trust my parents not to do anything to hide the truth before it's found out. You should go now, before anyone thinks you might leave. Just tell anyone that stops you that you were a bit lost and are just passing through. Books gets up. He pulls the window coverings back a crack to look through, then leaves through the door. We follow after him. He locks the door to the archives and sets us back on the path to our cart. I grab my bag and set it on my back over my shoulder. It feels so heavy after not having to carry it around. I wish I could use the straps. We see Son off. Books takes us back into the archives. I put my bag down as he climbs up the shelves to a high window. Found the cart, he announces. He's headed the right way. Another moment passes. Dad's on the other side of town. He should be in the clear. Another few moments pass, and he's gone. Books climbs down from the shelves and lets out the first crack of a smile I've seen. Do you want to pick out a couple books? Yes, I look around. I have no idea where to start. What books do you like to read? All sorts. I don't want to be picky. I'll read whatever is available, but I start prattling off some genres and categories. History, encyclopedia of a wide range of subjects. I read classic stories for school and some fantasy books. You go to school, he asks. Does he not? Do they have school here? Son spoke of tutors, but I assume that was just because of its situation. I set forth explaining. It's required on the other side. Kids go to school until grade 12. Most are 17 or 18 when they graduate. That's like adult age. You have to have some sort of education. Can't get a good job typically without at least a high school diploma. Many end up having to go to more schooling for jobs like engineers, teachers, doctors, lawyers, accountants. I didn't know it was required, the book says. I continue, you have to do some sort of schooling. That's required by law. Parents can get their children taken away if they don't provide some sort of schooling. Some do homeschooling, but there's still some qualifications and regulations and requirements from that. Most do public school or private school. What is the difference, he asks. Public school is funded with taxes from the government. It would be like if the royal family took in exchanges in order to make a school and providing teachings to all fairies from the time they were 5 years old, my time, to when they're an adult. Then private school is funded by parents, businesses, and others in order to provide schooling for kids. So you went to, he trails off in a question with an elongated ooh sound. Public school. I skipped a grade, so I was supposed to graduate next year my time. I explain. Books goes around to the shelves and picks out 2 books. I think you might enjoy these. One is the history of the original Sun Kingdom. The other is the information collected about this region. They're translated into common language, so you should be able to read them. I'm sure they'll be great, I think him in my head as he hands me the books. They're bound in wood carved and painted covers. I've never seen anything like it. We should go. Books brings my attention back to him. Best to get you hidden before the people leave the castle for the day. Mama will be busy with requests, so she shouldn't notice anything. Lead the way, I tell him. I pick up my bag and juggle everything as comfortably as I can. We leave the archives and go back towards his house. A large fairy drops in beside me. I jump from the surprise. I heard sightings of you with an unknown girl in your private archives, and I didn't believe it. But here she is, with your books. The words barely register as I'm stuck on his looks. Lose the muscle and grow the hair, and he would clearly resemble Sun. The eyes are a light gold, and his glimmer is more orange than yellow, but the similarities are there. Father, this is... At his pause, I realize we didn't get around to introducing what to call us. You may call me Jay, I offer up. Why was my son escorting you to his private archives? He swaps from teasing his son to interrogating me in an instant. Dad! Books presses. They're public, just no one else uses them. Dad! Books presses. They're public, just no one else uses them. It's unusual. You don't escort strangers. You don't bring anyone to the archives. You don't have friends. I'm curious. He swaps back just as quickly, teasing his son again. I figure out an answer that might be safe enough. I mentioned how much I love books, and since I let your daughter pet my unicorns, he offered to show me the books in exchange. The unicorns attached to the cart that just rode out of here. He switches back to interrogation like flipping a switch. Yes, I had a friend with me, but we needed some supplies from cactus flowers, so we went for a quick trip. It's a 5-day trip there and back. I wouldn't call that quick. Do you have somewhere to stay? I hold back the surprise. Books made it sound like a quick trip. He didn't mention it would take 5 days. Yes, I think so. I have things I can exchange for a hotel or something. We don't have any hotels around here. Where are you from? He stares through me with intensity. I can feel the interrogation slipping through my fingers. I've lived in many places. I should have figured something out for a story sooner. Figured out a Sun Kingdom city name I could use. How long have you been on this side of the portals? He asks pointedly. He knows. What? My mouth throws out when I can't think of anything else to say. Would denying it work? She's a refugee, Book spits out. She wandered through a portal and got lost. Another fairy is helping her return home. They've been traveling around looking for portals to the other side. I know of none, but told them someone in Cactus Flower might. It's dangerous, so she's staying here where the veil hides her. Which is it, refugee or lost? You can't be both, the king asked me. There's a war happening on the other side, but I'm also lost and need to find a portal to get home. A fire burnt down the portal I came through. It can be both. What war? He asks. He's quick with follow-up questions. At least I have a real answer for this one. They're calling it the Reset. A bunch of supernaturals got tired of hiding from humans, so in November, some of them rose up and tried to take over the world. Some places like New Zealand, nothing really happened. Their leaders just revealed supernatural existence and life went on. But where I'm from in Alberta, they're still fighting and trying to figure out some sort of coexisting normality. I've been through and seen a lot in the last few months, even wound up in a blood farm run by a bunch of vampires who were keeping people to feed on. The king's face creases the more I talk. The council wouldn't allow that. The council split. Two of the leaders started what they were calling a revolution. One of them was the fire elemental, and the other was the nocturnal leader. The other two council leaders and 3 of the elementals were against it, but it was too late to contain it once they found out. He takes a moment to think it over before he announces his plan to Books. We'll hide her until her friend comes back. Don't tell your mother. You know how much she loves her rules. His eyebrows draw in. Actually, why are you helping out? You're just as serious about the rules as your mother is. She provided sound logic and other contradictory laws for breaking this one rule, Books explains with a shrug. You're about to break more rules than you have in your whole life, he teases Books. Illusion her disappeared to sneak her in. We'll hide her in the guest room. I was gonna hide her in the children's hiding room, Books says. A wide grin appears on the king's face. He taps his pointer finger once to Books. Brilliant, do that. I'll find out your mom's schedule and some good food she can eat. I'll be by later. We can talk more about what's happening on the other side. There's a rush of air as he takes off. His wings are different from Sun's. They aren't as bumpy and have a different pattern. The red comes out from his back like fire, then turns orange. Yellow borders the edges of the outside of the wings. I look to Books and he looks to me. Now what? How did he figure it out so quickly? I still look like a fairy, right? I ask. We don't have hotels here. That's another side thing. No fairy would state staying in a hotel as an option. Oh. I didn't think of that. Using terms that are only used on my side is a giveaway that I don't belong here. Books starts walking towards his home. I watch the king fly off towards that direction. Do you need me to do anything to disappear me? I ask. Titan had to concentrate and learn things about my looks and behavior before he could glamour me. No, Books states simply. I guess glamoring a different image is harder than imaging someone not there. I isn't there. I state in a question. That should be more questioning. I guess glamoring a different image is harder than imaging someone isn't there. I state in a question. Don't interact with anything. Would be easier if I don't have to illusion something else not moving. Book says. That's information I can use. It makes complete sense, but I wouldn't have thought of it if he hadn't said something. Will do. I take from his cue and follow him. Don't move anything, don't interact with anything, don't say anything, don't run into anyone, no fast, unexpected movements. On one suggestion, I'm able to think of a few things that could help him with his illusion spell over me, or at least a few different ways I could mess it up. We walk the path into the house, straight through busy large entryway and into the large doorway labeled private. We turn to the left through hall leading toward a winding stairwell and some other rooms. Books leads us into a tiny room on the right of the stairs filled with stuff in baskets and bins, a storage room of sorts. He moves a leaning painting to reveal a hole in the wall. Do you need a flashlight? Books asks. Is it dark in there? I ask back. My answer will entirely depend on what his answer is. If it's going to be dark for the next 5 days, I need a flashlight. Only for a little bit. There's an electric light further in, but we have flashlights here for the little ones who get scared of the dark so they can make it through the tunnel. I nod with his response. I should be fine then, I say. He ducks down to crawl in first. I watch him disappear into the hole and try to ignore everything in me that says that this is a trap. He did say it's a hiding room for children. It makes sense for it to be hidden. His dad knows I'm here. Son knows I'm here. Well, sort of. He doesn't know exactly where I am, but he knows who I was last with. But 5 days is long time, and what happens if something happens to Son while he's gone? Books said the trip was dangerous, and the king didn't disagree. I go into the hole and pull the painting back into place. No sense in a hiding hole if people can see where it is. Turning around, I start squat walking with my hands out. I feel my way through until a light comes on. The route turns into a bit of a slide, then opens up into a smaller room. It's like a tiny kid's playroom. Colorful tapestries woven to show magical animals, European castle-like buildings and flowers. Each wall has a new variation, except for the wall of books and storage. When I was little, my mom and I would spend hours in here playing, reading, and learning, sneaking candy. We hid away in here because we were never sure if we'd get attacked that day or not, Book says. That's sad. It's a reminder of the war that they faced when he was little. Even when they were safe, it likely took a long time to feel safe. It's likely why they have a hiding room to begin with. It took a while to learn you were safe again, I comment to show I understand. I don't know if we ever were safe. I look to him for more information, but he's looking at a tapestry. Your unicorn was told to bring you to the Sun Kingdom capital, yet it shouldn't have known the way. It should have brought you to the old capital. That means the Moon Kingdom's lord knew where we lived, or someone else did. We're too far away and too obscure for imprecise directions. The unicorns were either here before or knew where we'd be some other way. But he didn't attack for all this time despite knowing where you'd be. Why? Wouldn't he have wanted to retaliate for the queen or get his real son back? Did he figure the fires were enough? The fires were an attack from the Ice Kingdom, not the Moon Kingdom, Book says. Oh, I guess I assumed that part.